It's gone! Rockies' #1 prospect, Zach Bean, has given the Goats a 4-3 lead with a home run into the top tank of Dunkin Donuts Park. High drive hit deep towards left. Here's Datros back towards the track, back towards the wall. He leaps, and he makes the catch. Oh, wow, what a grab by Datros.
You are listening to the Goat Gazette, the officially unofficial YouTube channel of the Hartford Yard Goats. Did I say listening? Watching? What does it matter? You could be listening, but most likely you're watching. We have a few things that have come out in the past week or so since I put out the last episode of the Goat Gazette, and I thought I'd bring them to you in a shortened version of the Goat Gazette. And of course, one more goat sound. Here we go. All right, here we go. I don't know if you saw this. The main thing we're going to be talking about is the fact that Dunkin Donuts Park is no more. Now, before you get all freaked out if you haven't heard the news yet, it's not that big a deal. It's not that big of a change, but I'll give you my thoughts on it in just a second. First thing I want to do is the Yard Goats officially released the players that will be going to Arizona. I believe that's where the Rockies do their spring training. I believe the whole NL goes to Arizona, but I'm an AL. I'm a Yankee fan. They all go down to Florida. But in the Arizona League, the Yard Goats are sending a bunch of guys to Rockies spring training. So let's check out who those guys are. And I will bring that up on my phone. And once again, I hope I don't get the, I don't know, it's like a blippy thing that if you bring your phone too close to the mixer, or too close to whatever. The invitees that come to spring training non-roster of the Yard Goats, Stephen Jones, Carl Kaufman. I don't know if Carl Kaufman, I'm like, iffy on it. I don't know how upset I am about that one. Willie McGyver, he's a great goat. I hope he does well. Obviously, like I said in the last episode, I hope these guys do well. I want them to improve and go on to the Isotopes and go on to the Rockies. But the greedy Yard Goat fan inside of me just still wants the Goats that I end up loving every time I go to a Goat game in each season. The guys, I follow their careers while they're on the Goats, and then they leave, and it's so depressing. Like Coco Montez, he wasn't with us this past season. He spent most of his season, I believe, in Albuquerque, but he was a Yard Goat, I believe, for 2 years, and he's going to be headed to Rockies spring training. Zach Veen, he's the Rockies' #1 prospect, and he did decent when he came into the Yard Goats towards the end of the season. Like, I believe Michael Tolia was already gone. Ezekiel Tovar was already gone. It was towards the end of the season when Zach Veen showed up. But he did okay. But then when he moved to the Arizona Fall League, he did amazing. So if he carries that over, I figured we'd at least see him in the first half of this next 2023 season. But who knows? Like I said, in a later episode, I will be going over the Goats that I think will be on the roster this season. Zach Veen getting the invite to spring training, that may have been the killer to see his return to Hartford. Hunter Goodman, Grant Levine, who took over at Fort Michael Tolia when he left, and Case Williams. These are the guys that will not be staying in Hartford too long, most likely. What's the next thing I want to talk about? Let's get this episode in. Let's get through it because it's only 2 bits of news. Dunkin Donuts Park, of course, will be no longer named Dunkin Donuts Park because of the rebranding of Dunkin Donuts to Dunkin. So let's just check this out. I believe the first article I have up is from the it's NBC Connecticut. As you can see, it says Dunkin Donuts sign and giant coffee cup come down at the home of Goats. And there you go. You can actually see the left field Titantron, a wrestling fan calls it a Titantron, Jumbotron, big screen, and at the top, no more steaming Dunkin Donuts cup, which is a little upsetting. I do think they're going to be putting a new one up there because that's part of it. The Goats hit a home run. You get the steam out of the Dunkin Donuts cup. You get the goat horns. The players are shooting up, and then you get the goat mask. These are great things. These are things that bring the crowd in, and I believe things that bring teammates together. So let's see what this it's a very short article. This article has to say, says there's some changes happening at the home of the Hartford Yard Goats. The Dunkin Donuts Park sign and the giant coffee cup above left field were taken down on Monday. The team is working with Dunkin to rebrand the ballpark Dunkin Park in time for opening day, according to general manager Mike Abrahamson. I don't like this quote. This is such a brown nosing to your brand, not to the Goats brand, but to the sponsors. He says, this ballpark runs on Dunkin', and we value our long-term partnership with Dunkin', with the Dunkin' brand and their local franchisees. Yeah, that's a little much for me. You didn't have to put in the actual, slogan of Dunkin' Donuts to get your point across that you're happy that they're sponsoring the field. Everyone is. They throw money into it. So why wouldn't you be happy about that? This final article comes from the Hartford Business Journal. And as you can see, it says Dunkin Donuts Park to change its name as part of a rebranding. And as you can see, there's the sign that is, when you walk in, that's kind of deep right field in that area right next to the Goat shop, where it usually says Dunkin Donuts Park. And this one, the only thing that's left is Park or Arc. You can barely even see it. And that's sad. I'm glad I have pictures of me and my family in front of that. I think Dunkin Donuts Park personally sounds better than Dunkin Park, but it's something you got to get used to. The only thing I have a problem with is usually on there's a Goat Facebook fan page, which I hope you can all get on. Just look up like Yard Goats Yard Goats fan Facebook, something to that effect. And I'm on that page. And a lot of the times when you're talking about Dunkin Donuts Park or you're tweeting about Dunkin Donuts Park on Twitter, you use its abbreviation DDP, and which is fine, because DDP, me as a wrestling fan, used to mean Diamond Dallas Page. But now, in my later years as a fan of the Goats, when I write DDP on Twitter or the Yard Goats Facebook page, it means Dunkin Donuts Park. But now, if you're going to shorten Dunkin Park, it's going to be DP, which I'm not going to want to write that. I'm not going to want to write that. Let's read this article really quick. It says, the home of the Hartford Yard Goats, Dunkin Donuts Park, is undergoing a rebranding. Workers on cranes removed the company's logo and Dunkin Donuts Park moniker one letter at a time on Monday. As of Wednesday morning, the sign that towers over Main Street remained blank. The downtown Hartford Stadium, where the Yard Goats play their home games, which opened in 2017 as part of a North End revitalization project, will be named Dunkin Park, and a new sign will be installed before the team's opening day on April 6th, said Jeff Dooley, a spokesperson for the team. The Yard Goats, named after the slang term for switch engines that shuttle rail cars between locomotives, are the minor league affiliate of the Colorado Rockies Major League Baseball team. The article does end out in its little conclusion with, in 2019, when Dunkin Donuts changed its name to Dunkin', the ballpark retained its original name. The coffee shop chain has a long-term sponsorship agreement with the Yard Goats and the city of Hartford, which owns the stadium. Details about the rebranding aren't yet available, Dooley said Tuesday. Dunkin Donuts Park was named we talked about this before, best AA ballpark in America by Ballpark Digest in 2022 for the fourth time in 6 years, and they deserve it. I did my first away game. I've been to minor league ballparks, but since I started doing this Goat Gazette, the only one I've traveled to is Binghamton, and it was kind of shabby. The surrounding area looked like a hovel. The stadium looked not impressive. I had a great time, and their speedy sandwich was amazing, if I can say that. I met a lot of nice people, but it just looked like a ballpark that the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League would have played in. It was just, especially in the concessions area, it was kind of sad. It just ends out the parent company of Dunkin Donuts paid at least $250,000 a year for the ballpark's naming rights. That's why that Abrahamson guy was going, yeah, we run on Dunkin' here at Yard Goats. Yeah, good for you. According to the current Josh Solomon, the Yard Goats owner would not disclose exact figures, but said the team receives the first $50,000 annually for the naming rights, and the city and the team split the rest. Hey, look, it was just a little bit of information here from the Goat Gazette to let you know what's going on. If I see one thing, I'm like, I could do the Goat Gazette every 2 weeks, on the off season, every 3 weeks on the off season, no big deal. But when two things come out, such as which players from the GOATs are heading up to spring training. And the weird thing is it did say Coco Montes, but it didn't mention Michael Tolia and all them. I'm assuming they're just they're talking about the guys that are not officially on the Colorado Rockies roster. Or as last time I checked, like guys like Michael Tolia, Ezekiel Tovar, Gavin Hollowell, guys like that are, you go on to MLB.com, their names are on. I'm assuming the names that we brought to you and that the Yard Goats released are guys who were Yard Goats who have not yet officially made the roster, who are going to spring training, because of course the regular team is going to spring training. But that's all I really have to say here from WLW Studios. When I get more information, I will bring it to you. And I do want to go over the guys that I do think will be on the Yard Goats starting in 2023. Granted, by the end of 2023, that could all change. We all have learned that. But I'm hoping guys like Hunter Stovall, one of my favorites, Kyle Datras. I'm hoping Zach Veen. I'm hoping these guys return. It would be a great thing to see those guys come back. But that's about it here from the studio. I can't wait to see you next time. I'm your host, Midnight Mike, and have a good night, everybody.
God,